We're super good at sales.
Great at upselling, great at client journey.
Not just coming to one and disappearing, but staying with us long term.
There's nothing better than helping someone who's like transitioning from full-time employment to full-time business.
Conor, Healy, and Kallum Hock, the founders of Connekt Coaching Sales Mastery.
Known for helping entrepreneurs and sales teams close more deals, simplify their sales process, and build practical systems that drive consistent growth.
Everyone talks about belief within your product, but you have to believe in the person that you're actually selling. You literally have to believe that they can achieve what you're saying.
The Michelangelo effect. If he really wants the marriage, how can he achieve that freedom and still be motivated by that inside the marriage? Just because something's of value doesn't mean it can only be fulfilled in this one way.
I can see a level of incongruency where their behavior is different from what they want. Once you can diagnose, then you can start to change.
You also need to look at the hierarchy too, right? Because what Conor just said then, his number one value was financial freedom.
So he's hit that. So his mind's not going to keep seeking out things to make him financially free because he's already financially free.
If you're only doing sales coaching, sometimes I feel like harder of a sell because the client's like, well, yeah, I need sales coaching, but I need like marketing help, and I need ads help, and I need messaging help. Did you guys run into issues with that? Or? All right, fellas, welcome to the pod. Glad you guys are here. How'd you guys get into entrepreneurship? I guess we'll start there.
I've always had the entrepreneurial flair, but I was actually working with an organization for about 20 years. And that organization, once I proved myself in the first couple of years, they pretty much said, hey, run the show, but don't scratch the edges. And if you do that, then we'll give you a lot of authority to do so. So I ran it almost like it was my own for close to 20 years. And then I had some life events happen, and I thought, do I want to do this for another 20 years? And I thought, no. So I tapped out, and shortly after that, started Connekt Coaching with Kallum. But Cal's got a good story as well. But, you know, the entrepreneurial flair has always been, let's make a difference in the world.
What was the business? What was the business you were working in prior to that? What type of business?
It was a training organization.
Okay.
So
was it still specifically sales training, or like what type of training?
It was near NLP. Have you heard of NLP?
Yeah.
So the world's largest NLP, we touted ourselves as the world's largest NLP training school.
Oh, wow.
And we worked very closely with the owner for many years. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2021. And incidentally, my dad passed away the year after. Then I broke my leg. And I thought, you know, do I want the same boss for the next 20 years? Or you know, we've been teaching people how to go out and start their training and coaching businesses for 20 years.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know, it's time to tap out and put into practice what you know we've been teaching people to do.
How many years ago was that?
To about 2.5.
Okay.
2.5 years.
Okay. And then you came into the picture, so talk to me about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we met through the NLP trainings. I spent a lot of time in my early years feeling like I didn't fit in. I went to university, did a trade, ended up becoming a plumber, working in the mining game for a little bit. And looked at my father at the time, who absolutely loved what he did. He jumped out of bed every morning. He was psyched to get into it. And I just felt like I didn't have that. And, you know, I said to him one day, I said, you know, I want to find what my purpose is, what I want to do, you know. So, and he said, you know, you got to find what you're passionate about first, figure out how to use that passion to help people. And that's your purpose effectively. So, yeah, I thought traveling was my gig. You know what I mean? I was really passionate about
I like that one too. Yeah,
you know what I mean? I was passionate about traveling. I traveled around the world twice. Started off in London, did Europe, and then went on a bit of a spiritual quest around South America. I did Brazil, Argentina, Peru, Bolivia, through Central America.
Did you do any like the psychedelics and stuff?
Not while I was there. I had a girlfriend with me at the time that wasn't like a big fan of me disappearing into the Amazon for 5 days without her.
On walkabouts.
But I did when I got home. I did give ayahuasca a crack through an invite. They had a Chilean shaman come out to. I don't know if you know the other capital cities in Australia, but Brisbane. Yeah. They invited us over. It was kind of like a wealthy crowd, and they had, you know, shipped this guy over from Chile, and he ran this ayahuasca ceremony for 3 days over Easter one time, and that's another story, but we can get into that if you want to. Okay. But that definitely also shaped, I guess, my push to moving out of what I was doing. It's all centered around this kind of internal search for being aligned with what I did every day. I found myself in the mining and plumbing business, just wishing my days away, just, you know, wishing I wasn't, why am I here? This is not what I'm meant for, you know? And I found, you know, on that trip around South America, I found that I loved helping people with, you know, inspiring them, encouraging them to go after what they wanted to do as well. And I actually enrolled into a psychology degree when I was coming home. And a friend of mine at a barbecue when I got home, he said, mate, before you go and lock into a 4-year, maybe a 6-year university degree, check out this. It was an audio tape. It was like a CD at the time, which was Dr. Tad James teaching NLP. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, this kind of bridges the gap between traditional psychology, but also some of the spiritual aspects that I was interested in. And yeah, it just felt like a good fit for me. So that's when I rang the office and spoke to these guys, which was back in 2012.
Did you guys connect through your old company?
Yeah. Cal came through as a student as such, and then a few years later, I'm like, I need a superstar to join the team. Rang Cal, and he's up in Brisbane, and I said, hey buddy, we've got a position here. Happy for it to be remote. This was 2017, and he's like, oh, I've just had a life change. I'll see you Monday. So he flew down to Sydney, and then that's when we started working together in a professional capacity. And about a year before I moved on, Cal had already sort of moved on from the business after about five or 6 years or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And there was a big change, and with all change comes opportunity. So put the feelers out. That's and had a few phone calls. And
so you guys started Connekt Coaching. What was the you guys mostly focus on sales, correct? Or am I incorrect? Okay. Yeah. So what made you think to do that? Was it because it's what you were doing in your old company with NLP, or what made you get into that?
When you do something for 20 years, you're bloody good at it, and you're one of the only people in the world who knows this niche. So we were like, oh, do we want to run NLP trainings, hypnosis trainings, coaching trainings? We're like, no, that's what we've been doing for the last many, many years.
We didn't want to become in competition with a lot of the people we trained. When we
because most of the people you guys had come through there had coaching companies type
coaching and training.
Yeah, they interesting.
Yeah.
Why was that on purpose or just
we trained NLP, we trained timeline therapy, we trained hypnosis, and we trained coaching.
So I guess it makes sense.
And a lot of those people wanted to actually certify themselves as well. Okay. And one of the funny things was as those people became more successful, the inbound calls that Conor and I would get were, how did you get the business going? How do you sell this person? What are your talk tracks for this? How do you handle this objection?
I've got someone on the fence here. What do I say? Just little.
And we were like, we could actually be charging for this.
Yeah. That was the most enjoyable part of the business. That became the most enjoyable part of what we do, because there was nothing better than helping someone who's transitioning from full-time employment to full-time business in that bridging area, that bridging time, and they're a bit lost. They ring us. We would give lifetime support for free. And it just fueled us to say, fuck yeah, we're actually making a difference here. And this feels really good. And then when we started Connekt Coaching, we were like, well, let's throw the hook out, see if there's a market for it. And immediately, took about a few months. And then once we got clear on some of our offers, just the business started to come in thick and fast. And it's been like that since.
Okay, so question about the coaching is, my experience, and I'm curious what your guys' take on it is, my experience is usually when people come in for sales coaching, they still will have other business issues. And so if you're only doing sales coaching, sometimes I feel like that could be a little bit harder of a sell, because the client's like, well, yeah, I need sales coaching, but I need marketing help, and I need ads help, and I need messaging help. Did you guys run into issues with that or
100%.
Okay.
that was the first hurdle we had to overcome. And it was kind of we're super good at sales.
Great at sales, great at upselling, great at client journey, keeping someone, as soon as someone enrolls into any program, having them spit out 5 years later, investing 100K in everything along the way. Yeah. That's
not just coming to one and disappearing, but staying with us long term. But some of our clients at the time weren't necessarily at that point where they didn't have the volume yet, and they were looking, how can I attract more people into our business? So we went through a very steep learning curve at the start to firstly kind of figure out what our strategy was for that, and then also relay that directly to the people that we were working with.
So you guys are you more holistic now, where you teach more stuff, or did you kind of turn those lower level clients away and you were like, hey, let's just focus on the big dogs? I think
there are two main parts of our business. One is the corporate sales training side. Okay. So we do corporate sales, we do corporate leadership, we do corporate presentation skills like pitching and things like that. And then the other half of our business is public. And that's where most people funnel through. And most of our clients at that level I would say, are small business owners, solopreneurs. Maybe they have 2 or 3 VAs working with them, and they need more of a holistic, all-round approach.
Right. Yeah.
I need a bit of organic marketing. I don't have the budget yet for paid marketing. I need organic marketing. I need a rinse and repeat business strategy where I can grow my audience, pitch my offer, and then start to craft my upsells from that point onwards. And that's our university program where we work with them for a year. So we like working with them.
It's a community offer. So it's, once we get them in, they stay long term, and then the idea is that they tick over into year 2, 3, 4, 5.
Why do they stay so long in your opinion? Is it more like the pricing model? Is it because you kind of make the ascension easy?
I think initially it's the promises that we make around their earning capacity, but the second part that they stay for is the community. That's definitely what people stay long term for.
Really? What is it you guys thinking about your community that might be different? Because everyone's different, obviously, but like most communities, I want to, like for me, I'm not like, oh, I got to really be in that. So is there like something you guys are doing different?
Yeah, I'd say it's a holistic approach. Like when in the many years that we were in NLP, you understand that the human body is not just, it's not A, B, C, and D. We're holistic. So there is that spiritual element that we bring to it, not in a let's light some candles and hold hands and chant sort of spirituality, but hey, there's something bigger than just turning up every day and tapping into that. And there's something called Huna, which is from Hawaii, ancient Hawaiian sort of teachings philosophy. Cal's a really, really good trainer in Huna, and we bring that in we blend that into our business approach. So we look at business holistically. Numbers are important, but how do you even get there first? Like there has to be something that ticks inside you. Yeah. And we like to tap into that and give people more depth than just numbers within a business.
We believe that you're limited in business by who you are right now, right? And a lot of that development of where you can get to starts with an identity shift that occurs. And we don't just look at that from a psychological standpoint or an emotional standpoint. We also look at it from a spiritual standpoint, which is to say we look at it, in the Huna tradition, it's about aligning yourself with your higher self as well. And that's not necessarily about adding anything. It's about cutting away. It's about looking at, this limiting belief or this limiting decision or this, negative emotion that's impacting me or challenged me or blocking me. And you asked before about why people stay long-term is because they don't just get business advice or strategies or formulas from us. It's also that ongoing personal and spiritual development that they get as well. And I think that's a part of what builds that community.
Absolutely. And I think it shows in our target market, the majority of people in our programs, I'd say, are 30 and above, who are a little bit more mature in life, a little bit more grounded in a way, and they're looking for something a little bit deeper than just, hey, I want to feel pumped up for a week and then it fizzles out. And then I go back again and get all pumped up again and get a new quote, get a new video. There's something under the surface over and above that.
So explain to me maybe how you guys accomplish that. Because like for me, I'm just more of a just do it guy. Yeah. So like how I feel doesn't really matter.
Well, so that's why you're here.
Right. So some people when they're like, oh, I'm struggling, I can't do it, I'm really scared. I'm just like, dude, just fucking do it. Yeah. So obviously like that probably doesn't work and you guys probably do something different. What would you do to someone who's like, oh, I just, I'm really scared, I just can't do it? Like whether it's NLP or whatever, what do you say to that person? Because for me, I'm just like, bro, like whatever you're going through, I get it, but like you still got to do it, so just fucking do it, right? But that's not usually the best way to coach someone because that doesn't go very deep.
Sledgehammer approach.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely a market for that. I think that, I think the bro scalers are very much of that guild. They're willing just to, they're a point and shoot type demographic, which you tell them, hey, do this, and they'll go and do it. Yeah.
We have those people in our community.
And over the years of being in the NLP certification game, the timeline therapy certification game, we just acquired skills along that journey of how to deal with that psychological stuff too, how to remove negative emotional experiences that people have had from the past, and most of that's centered around people getting a learning that they didn't previously had, and that allows them to expand their behavioral responses to certain stimuli or triggers, and that empowers them to just get on with it, like you just said. That mindset of just getting on with it, I think, is good to a point, but I think everyone at some point has that thrown in their face, and you have to deal with it. Maybe if you're not dealing with it in real time, you end up getting slammed with it in the face by an event that occurs, down the track at some point, and our kind of method is just to deal with it as it's happening in real time. And that way you don't have to worry about it again. And we use techniques like NLP, like timeline therapy, like hypnosis to do that. Every Tuesday in our sessions, we do a Tuesday morning session, a Thursday morning session. We're always getting everybody to do a hypnosis induction, which is about clearing that stuff out for them.
So the reason why it's the resilience. How quickly can someone get back up after being knocked down? And the knockdowns are often what keep people in their box. So how do we do that? We invest a lot of time on resilience training and flexing that muscle of resilience. So giving them and clearing the hurdles that are holding them back from staying down, so that they feel that confidence to go back up again. And often, it's like pulling the cord on a lawnmower. You got to pull it a couple of times, but once it starts going, people start getting used to winning. They get used to getting back up again.
Yeah.
And that's probably, we're very big on believing in people and sticking with them. So for us, I think a lot of people stay with us as well, is because we have their back from the start. They become much more successful, and there's this loyalty or connection that gets formed along the way. And they just know that we're always going to have their back, and we're always going to help them grow. So at the end of the day, they make more money, but it's the journey along the way that we make really, pleasant for people.
Yeah. So, when I think about flexing the resilience muscle, part of me just thinks like, you have something bad happen, you get up, and you keep doing that kind of So how are you flexing it without them actually maybe popping back from something? Does that make sense? Because if something happens to me and then I fight back and I push against it, that to me would be resilience. I flex that muscle. Is there a way you guys can kind of undercut that process where it's like they're doing it, but they're not going through like a specific situation? Did I misunderstand that?
You're going to have to fail. Like you have to get knocked down. Most of it is sales and putting themselves in a vulnerable position where they're not understanding that they need to. I've gotten more no's in probably 1 week in sales over the years than they would have in a year, because they just haven't done the volume. So you need to sort of encourage someone who wants to be an entrepreneur. You have to encourage them and give them the skill set in order to do the strategy, and then encourage them along the way with that strategy. So coming back to your point, how do you strengthen that muscle of resilience? Resilience is how quickly you bounce back up. And one little thing that we get people to do on a regular basis is just fucking read a testimonial that someone gave you after you made a difference in their life. In the point where you feel like shit because someone hung up on you, or you felt like you're going to get a $10,000 sale, read a testimonial and get plugged back into why you're doing what you're doing. And then it changes, it collapses that behavior, collapses that pattern after a period of time.
Do you guys feel business owner, sales professional, whatever, if they're more tapped into their emotions, does better, or the opposite? Because like for me in business, one of the things that I've been told from a couple of therapists is they're like, yeah, you're really good at business because like you're really good at ignoring your emotions, but it doesn't do you so good in relationships because when the girls say something, you're just like, who cares, right? So like, do you find like one is better than the other?
You want to get this?
No, you go.
Okay.
You're on a roll.
Yes. We want people to make money, but we also, again, everything that we do is holistic. So for us, like right now, we have young families. So creating a successful business is important in the constraints that we have called family.
Right.
So we used to work. I used to work fucking long days, 30 days straight, 10-hour days, but I had no home life. So I was able to put those hours in. I was able to grind like that. When the family came along, my values changed in life. And when your values are what are most important to you. So because my values have changed, I can't, and Cal's in exactly the same position. We both have young families. We can't just hustle for 12, 16-hour days, 7 days a week in order to build the business. We have to learn how to still build a business, but have the flexibility and balance in our lives in order to spend time with the thing that actually drives us in life, which for me is my family. If I'm working my butt off and I'm not spending any time with my family, and I'm not present with my kids, and that's about being present. Yeah. If I'm not present with the people who actually fuel me to want to do better in life, then there's an imbalance there. And it could be great now, but where am I going to be in 10, 15 years' time? Kids are going through a hard time as a teenager. I'm not going to be the rock that they lean on during that time because I didn't invest that time in the beginning in order to...
Like you wouldn't be able to tell them how to deal with it because you would just say rub some dirt on
it. Something like that. Or they won't see me as the guided source.
Okay.
They'll go off and talk to ChatGPT.
Understood. Yeah. ChatGPT definitely will get hit up.
Back to what you asked around the being dissociated, not feeling your emotions, being better at sales and not as good as at relationship, for example. We look at that in a slightly different lens with NLP. It's about being able to change your state.
Yeah.
Like if you
100%.
if you've been in, like, you've got 10 no's that day, and then all of a sudden you start to take that personally, so you don't do the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th that day, then if you're feeling your emotions deeply on that level and you're taking it all personally, that is going to affect if you're going to be a good business owner or entrepreneur. But what we try to teach is, how do you get back up on the horse? How do you change your state? And a lot of that's to do with what you're focusing on in your mind. And that's why Conor said about the testimonial, because that switches their focus from those setbacks, those knockbacks, those, people, it stops them from taking it personally, because they go and read the testimonial, or they go for a walk outside, listen to their favorite song, get back into that empowered state, and then they're ready to go, around 11 and 12. So we don't like to say one's better than the other. We would prefer to say, all right, well, let's look at the mechanism that's happening here at the unconscious level in the psyche, and how do we get them back on track using some of the NLP or hypnosis techniques.
And NLP, for people who are listening, is hypnosis the easiest way to describe
conversational hypnosis? Yeah. It's the study of excellence, how to model it, and then use that yourself to get the same results as somebody else does.
So obviously it's probably too hard to explain, or might be even weird, but when you say conversational hypnosis, is it they're saying certain things that change things?
You're not putting people in a formal trance. So you're not putting people under. They're not going to sleep, or they're not closing their eyes, for example. But you are still linguistically influencing the images in their minds, the feelings that they're feeling, to change their state, to change their behavior, to change their results.
Okay. Yeah. So go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, the state that we hold at any given time influences our behavior, and our behavior repeated over a period of time gives us the results that we have. So a lot of people say, so we have the state of mind, we'll just umbrella state. We have behavior, and then we have results. A lot of people want more results, and they think, what behavior do I have to do in order to get better results? What they miss is that actually the best of the best in any endeavor, it's who they are up here. And a lot of people find that very challenging to change, because it's not as easy as going to the gym. If I go to the gym and I'm lifting, I'm benching 100 kilos, and then in 2 weeks' time I'm now up to 110. That's a measurable change. I can see a very conscious-minded, measurable change. When you make change at what we call the unconscious level, you really only understand how much change has occurred because a period of time has gone by. You look back and you think, oh shit, I haven't blown off at anyone. I haven't spoken negatively about myself during high pressure times. I've been able to achieve more in a shorter period of time. And it's after you look back that change has occurred. And we say, honestly, for all the listeners there, when you say change at the unconscious level, it sounds flaky. It sounds really, really flaky. It sounds like, what is this? Because it's an intangible, so it sounds very flaky. And but when you do make that change, you'll be more centered. You'll be more the word is empowered during times where that used to bring stress to you. You're clear in your thinking, and as a result, it compounds with interest over a period of time.
Okay, so a lot of people talk about manifestation, and a lot of people, the way people describe it, I kind of was like, it makes no sense, because they kind of present it as if you just think of these things or say these things, it'll change. The way that I understood it was from a pretty high level guy. He kind of broke it down to me. He's like, look, the reason you say something, he's like, let's say you say it more than I am patient, is so that when you get in a situation where you're impatient or you're getting upset, that thought comes to your head, so it changes your actions. That to me, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And that's actually what I think it really is. Is NLP similar to that, or is it a little bit
That's
different?
what we call a pattern interrupt.
Okay.
So that's an NLP technique called a pattern interrupt. Interesting. Changes.
To go sort of a bit more big picture, we're bombarded by about 11 million bits of information every second. Right? Yeah. And then, through the filters, which is our beliefs, our values, our decisions, we filter that down to about 156. So we've got this tiny selection, right? And our language can also determine the selection that we make. So our reticular activating system, which is, a part of the mind, starts to delete and distort and generalize your experience through that selection, right? So if you're saying something to yourself all the time, and we don't typically do affirmations or anything like that. We like to go a little bit deeper than that. But if you're constantly saying, you say, I want a red Porsche, and then you start to see red Porsches everywhere. You start to see that confirmed in your reality, and your reticular activating system starts to select those pieces of information. So why not say to yourself, and we go a little bit deeper, like I said, but why not have strategies embedded or beliefs or values embedded in your neurology that starts to select the pieces of information that confirm the direction that you actually want to go towards your goals, rather than confirm the ones that limit you from going towards your goals.
Can I do a demo with you?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you 5 seconds.
Okay.
You may have heard this one. I'm not too sure. I'll give you 5 seconds. I want you to count the number of brown things in this room. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now close your eyes. Close your eyes. How many blue things did you see?
Jeez, I have no idea.
Next to nothing. And that's the response we get. Yeah. So if I'm focusing on brown, and brown could be prosperity, brown could be I'm no good. I don't think
I would have guessed the right brown.
That's all I'll see. So if we walk into a room and I'm focusing on everything that I don't want in my life, I'll meet people in that room that are not going to support, that will confirm what I'm thinking and feeling.
Right.
Whereas if I'm going, I've got a fucking goal, I'm going to smash it, I want to make $10 million next year, I'm going to probably start talking to people who will help me get there, because I'm focusing on the blue now.
Yeah.
And the blue represents prosperity.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that a lot, because anyways, one of the guys I worked with, I don't know if he would consider NLP, but like the way you describe that is like,
so then the question is, how do I shift my focus? And that comes down to what Cal was saying before: your values, your beliefs, your past patterns, what is working for you, what is not working for you. And then when you can start to articulate something and almost put a boundary around it, because you can't change something that you don't know that you don't have. Like if I'm not even problem aware, how can I change something I don't have? So when I say problem, but when a change that you want to occur comes to your conscious awareness, we can then label it, and then we can actually change it. It's like going to the doctor and saying, I'm feeling sick. Well, what's wrong? I don't know. And then the doctor says, well, I'll have to do a diagnosis.
Right.
And then, but in business, you can't really do that. So normally when people come to us, they say, my sales is broken, my marketing's broken. So then we can fix that, and then we can fix the rest of their business.
Okay. Understood. That makes sense. Yeah, I love that. What's the main model? Or actually, let me back up. What's the main way that you guys are helping businesses fix leads and then fixing sales? Or like, what's the main problem? So someone comes to you like, I have a lead issue. What's the main problem you see? And then the same thing with sales. Like, are they struggling with objections? Are they struggling with the pre-frame? Like, so what, because you're getting both those types of clients basically.
Yep.
Yeah. So we mainly work with training organizations, big and small. So we have people that are doing 8 figures. We have people that are solopreneurs, if you will. And one of the biggest problems is they get people in, they come to their first training, their first program, but then they ghost, they disappear, and they've got like 4 other trainings stacked up behind that. And they're like, that's where I make my money, because it costs me all my money to get them to this one. How do I keep them in long term?
Yeah. High cost of acquisition.
Yeah.
In the training.
Are these clients like paying per session type deal? Is that why?
Well, typically for training. So like in the NLP space, just to use
it's like as you show up. Or
it's kind of like there's the first level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4.
Yeah, I was like, I saw that, get it all up front.
yeah. Well, that's one of I guess that's one of the strategies. But we like to create forever clients. How can we keep people in long term? They're loyal customers that pay us well and refer like crazy. That's the mission.
The Forever Client Matrix. We've created a sales system or a sales mindset that we apply to the business called the Forever Client Matrix. So the whole idea is to create forever clients. We want every business, you want a forever client. Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to be just the churn of sales and marketing. Sales marketing.
Yeah, of course.
So you need your short, medium, and long-term pipelines working in unison. Most people who are entrepreneurs only get their short-term figured out, and if they don't close everyone in their short-term, then they think they're a failure, and then they play the mind games with themselves, and then they sort of start spiraling down that way.
Especially in the event space, because like you could have a full room at the first program, and then you're like, I need to like close these people for the next ones. And if they don't, it's like, well, the whole year's screwed. You know what I mean? And that could mean the end of their business. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure.
It almost sounds to me like you, I know you guys are saying you do sales, you focus on sales, but it almost sounds like, I guess you could put that in sales, but it almost sounds like it's like follow-up, nurture, fulfillment. Like it kind of sounds like it's more of that.
Creating forever clients.
It's a philosophy, yeah.
Yeah, and the label we use is basically sales and marketing, because that's what people know.
Yeah.
If I said, "Hey, Tanner, we'll help you create forever clients,"
Oh nobody wants it. Yeah.
What the hell's that?
Or fulfillment, like it's kind of I agree with that. You tell people, we'll help you fix your tension. Like it's crazy. Like even if something's a problem, like I need leads in sales.
Yeah,
you got to give them what they want. You know,
what is that? Sell them what they want and give them what they need. Yeah, 100%. Love that saying.
Yeah,
and
that's super smart that you framed it that way, because it's like I 100% agree. If you switched it, you would have way less sales, because people like I've literally marketed both just to test it. And it's like it never outperforms like sales or leads, because it's what people think they want.
And we learned that because we had, when one of our programs, we'd mapped out 12 months. We spent like all this money. We'd spent like the designer to map out the brochure, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, hey, Will, this is what we have. And they're like, well, what are you doing? And I don't need what I want is not happening till October. This is February. So I'm not going to sign up until October.
You're like, great.
And we were like, oh yeah, great. And then we had to change that model really quickly. So we learned.
We made a bunch of mistakes. We also created our very first training that we did. I spent like, when you record something that's like 30 hours long, but it really took you like nearly 1,000 to record those 30 hours.
Yeah.
We did all that. We created the manuals.
Oh, dude.
We did the ads.
Yeah.
And then, we had people show up, but they weren't the people that were going to go to our next training.
Right.
So we're like, we are never doing that again. So we decided at that point we're always going to make the offer first.
I agree. I was about to say, I was like, I'm the opposite, where my team's like, Tanner, we have nothing. I'm like, doesn't matter, sell it, and then we'll build it.
That's what we ended up doing, and it just like went gangbusters. Like everyone was like, that's what we want, and we're like, why didn't we do this in the first place? Because you get your money up front. Yeah, we hustled for a month to try to put
the fire up under you.
Yeah, we hustled for a month to try to get it all together. But
or you could tell people too. It's like, hey, like it's going to take like a couple days for us to build this out, and then you just get the first things in place and you stay one step ahead. But I mean,
we should have done that.
I agree with that, because I mean, even when I talk about businesses that do that, it's like Shark Tank. Like they go on Shark Tank, and first off, the business model I don't like. I mean, these are gonna be the best protein bars ever, which I'm like, okay. They mortgage their house, they take out all these loans, they max out their credit. I'm like, bro, like. It's like
it's risky.
It's just so it's like unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. And those businesses can work, but it's like you got to be the next Facebook, because unless you have a big audience where you have tons and tons of money, like it's not going to work. So, anyways, that's neither here nor there. But I agree with you guys flipping that, because then that way you guys don't get put in a bad position.
Best thing we ever done, and we now do that with every offer. We test the waters with our audience. Some fly, some don't fly, and the ones that don't fly, we don't do. So. Yeah.
Or we repackage it. We just wrap it in different wrapping.
Well, and the cool thing is when you sell, it's like if you do a presentation and bombs, then you're like, okay, let's do another one, and then another one, and like you get the data way faster, and like, okay, let's build it out now. So build it out. I'm like, bro, like you're gonna slow yourself down.
And I like being paid to work. So So if I'm putting something together that I don't even know if someone's gonna buy, it's sort
of the worst.
That that fire that you need in order to get the creative going and the push to get things done in a timely manner. You don't have that. Whereas if you're getting paid and you've already made commitments to your audience, then it absolutely lights that fire up on you to get it done.
You guys obviously do a lot of mindset, which I think is good. It's probably one of my weaker spots, because like I don't know. I feel like I have a good mindset, but it's very like just rub some dirt on it. So I don't think that's very helpful for most people. But for me, I'm just like, I don't know. Like if I explain it to someone, I'm like, I just don't worry about how I feel. Like I don't, that could be good or bad, I guess, depending on how you want to gauge that. But I think that does not work for most people. So when you guys are working with, business owners, what's like the main mindset traps they fall into as they scale? Is it just like, oh, I'm an imposter, like I don't have the skill, or like, I mean, what are they usually?
Well, I mean, it's like Santa. Santa's reading a book here saying, believe in yourself, and most of the first initial things that we come across is, it doesn't matter whether people are, playing at the top game or the bottom game, at some level there's something that they don't believe in themselves, and that starts to ripple out and it starts to be reflected. Doesn't matter what level they're at. It's like if they want to go to the next level, that little doubt creeps in, that little incongruency creeps in, that little uncertainty creeps in. And a big part of the work that we do, in sales, if you don't believe in what you're selling, then you start to see that in your conversion rate. So it drops dramatically. As soon as you're congruent, as soon as you absolutely love the product, you believe in the offer, all of a sudden you could sell it like hotcakes every single day of the week. So it doesn't matter what level you're at. The very first mindset trap that I think that people need to deal with to get to that next level is the belief that they can be that. And I feel like that's really centered around identity. And I spoke about that before. Making the shifts that you need to, it's not about just setting the goal. It's about rewinding that goal back to, who do I need to become to make that goal easy? And then start being that now. And in order to do that, you need to, there has to be an absolute belief that you can be that person, and you can start to act as if that person, start to do the behaviors that person would do, start to wake up and do the things during the day that person would do. You know, and that's, for me, like I said, it doesn't matter what level you're at. In order to get to the next one, there has to be an identity shift.
Does this stuff work in relationships too? And like, I don't even know what an example would be, but maybe like, I don't know, like let's say a guy, I don't know, he feels like he's got a girlfriend, he feels like he should marry her, but he's like super scared and he doesn't know if that's what he wants. I don't even know if that's like a good example, but could you use this?
We look more at values at that point. Would you say, Connor? It's about looking at what your value set is in relationships and making sure that the values that your partner has or potential partner has are similar values. So,
right. So would you even say, in that case, it's like something to fix, or it's just something to understand? It's like, well, dude, like maybe you're just not ready
it's
to
an
be.
agreement.
Here's the question.
Yeah.
Is it working? Because no one will change something. Because NLP and hypnosis, whatever, you can't make someone do something.
Right.
Like you just can't.
Right.
Free
That's a big
will wins
misconception,
every
yeah.
single time.
Yeah.
But what you can do is that I want to dunk like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And if I get Michael Jordan's strategy, I'll adopt it, implement it, practice it, and be dunking much quicker than had I not.
Right.
If I don't even want to dunk, if I don't even like basketball, it doesn't matter who rocks up and teaches
So there
me
has
how
to be a
dunk.
desire.
There
So if the
has to be
desire's
desire.
not, if the desire's not there, like let's say they think that's the right thing to do, but they don't desire it, then you're just like, it's not gonna
Exactly.
work.
Well, you
That's an
gotta- you gotta
incongruence.
unpack it.
Incongruence straight away.
What are you fearful of? Because it's probably going to be fear.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's just say one girl for the rest of your life or something.
Yeah. Okay. And then you'd unpack it. How's that a problem?
I don't know. I'll get bored. Like it's gonna be the same girl. I don't know if I can do it. Like, what if I cheat on her? I don't want to cheat on her. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to turn this into a
No. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm kind of like role playing.
riffing,
riffing. So before then, the first thing I would actually ask you before you walked in, and it's the same with business growth. Do you want to grow your business? Do you want to have a long-term relationship with this person?
Is it something you even want?
Is it something that you want? Yeah. And if you say, I'm not too sure, that's why I'm here, then we can get clarity. But the fact that you're not even, like, where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? And like, I'm on another jet plane and I'm doing this. Okay, well, you're not with someone. No. Okay, well, that sort of gives a clear indication as to where you're at right now. And then it may be it could come up that I'm fearful because my parents separated and I'm afraid that will happen in this relationship, or it could be I'm only here out of loyalty to my partner. So something deeper will pop up.
How do you guys unpack that though? So like, because if you don't want it or something, that makes total sense. But if someone's like confused or not sure, right? Like I would say most of my conversations around like, not even just me, just like high level guys. Most high level guys, I would say on average, this is on average, not every guy, but like they work really hard to make themselves into something. They get, to that level, they can do whatever they want. And then it's kind of like, they meet a girl and it's like, I don't really want you to do whatever you want. I want you to be with me. And the guy like might struggle and he's like, well, yeah, like I really love her, but like I kind of just want to enjoy my life or whatever. That's like, I would say like on average, not all guys, but then it's like, okay, the guy loves her. He does want to be with her, but he doesn't know if he can commit to her forever. So he like gets stuck in kind of this middle ground.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how you would unpack that.
Oh, you see, the values we hold influence our beliefs.
Yeah.
They're one of the filters that we talked about before.
It's a filter.
Right.
So a lot of work is values. And coming back to business.
This comes with business partnerships as well, not just, personal relationships.
Even a relationship with your business. We sometimes with our onboarding calls, I can see a level of incongruency where their behavior is different from what they want. So if they're hustling and they're doing everything and they're just not there yet, that's one person. But then you have someone who's like, I want to make money, but I'm not making any calls. That's incongruent behavior versus someone who's like, I'm making a shit ton of calls, I'm just not getting nothing's landing. Yeah. That's a different sort of fix than I want money, but I'm not taking any action.
So you might look at that and say, well, you're saying that, but you obviously don't because you're not willing to do
Bingo.
it.
So
Look
I say, what's important to you? In fact, we have a client in our Connekt University program, and he made a lot of money in his job. He's got enough money to keep him for another 12 months where he doesn't necessarily have to work. And he's got a small training business. He trades, he trains tradies like, do you have tradies, trade workers, like builders and things like that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, I'm not motivated to take any action. I said, okay. And I could see it. And I said, so what do you want? And he goes, well, I want to be financially free. I said, right now, you are financially free. You got enough money in the bank to last you another year. You're financially free. So your number one value as to why you want to do business, you've already hit. So why would
motivated.
you push yourself out of your comfort zone and get a day full of no's if you've already hit what's most important to you? So he's like, oh shit, Conor, you're right. So once you can diagnose, then you can start to change.
You also need to look at the hierarchy too, right? Because what Conor just said then,
interesting.
his number one value is financial freedom.
So he's hit that. So his mind's not going to keep seeking out things to make him financially free because he's already financially free.
Do you think that's more? Sorry, I'm dialing deep on this. It's very interesting. So last question I'll try to say, and we'll go back to the business. But let's take that scenario I gave you where the guy's like, "Hey, I'm in love with this girl. I want to marry her, but like I don't know if I can be with one girl forever, whatever." Like, would you look at that scenario? Obviously, you could look at his action. You're like, well, obviously you don't because like you're not willing to marry her. But then how do you then determine like, is it just the wrong time? Is he immature? Is it the wrong girl? Like,
Well, it's what's
Right?
important to you about. So everything that guy can imagine that he gets to do with multiple girls rather than one girl,
Right,
we need to look at what's important to him about that first. Because there might be a hidden value underneath there, right? Something that he's motivated by to be with multiple women rather than one, right?
Yeah, in this, sorry, I'm giving you guys like all these examples, but like I would say in this scenario, like let's say they just value freedom, like the optionality. It's like I don't need.
So how can he achieve that freedom if he really wants the marriage?
Yeah.
How can he achieve that freedom and still be motivated by that inside the marriage? And there may be some agreements that need to be made between each party in order to fulfill that. But it's like, how can I still fulfill that value within the marriage? So just because something's of value doesn't mean it can only be fulfilled in this one way. There could be multiple ways that it can be fulfilled.
Well, I don't even know if you could do that off the top of your head, but like, what would an example of that be? Like freedom inside the.
Well, maybe
marriage, per se?
maybe once every quarter he gets to go away for the weekend and be with other girls. I mean, or maybe he gets to go away with
a boys' golfing trip.
Exactly, or gets to go away and whatever it is that allows him to feel fulfilled, fulfill that value of freedom. He gets to do that every so often. That's part of the agreement that they have.
Well,
Or if my number one value in life, and it encompasses every area of my life, is freedom, then he shouldn't be having the marriage conversation.
right.
If he doesn't want to change.
So in that case, you might just be like,
Do you want to change? I'd say, hey, this is your number one value across every area of your life is freedom. Do you want to change it?
and if not, it would just be as simple as like, you're not ready. Yeah, you're like
Have an open
You're
conversation.
you're not ready or don't have it. It's like we often.
I think that's the thing that's interesting for me is like different parts of your life, you think different things. And so
the societal
whether
norms.
it's me or someone else, you just like, well, is it the wrong thing or is it the wrong girl? Is it the wrong time? Is it like you just look? I kind of lose my mind doing that because I'll go back and forth and all this stuff.
That's societal conditioning. Though.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like we hit these certain milestones in our life and we think that we should have the house with the white picket fence or the family with
Versus like just more like, what do
do I want?
Yeah.
What do I want?
Interesting.
And then what do you want? And be congruent with it, right? Like
Because even
If
if
you
it's the
don't-
wrong decision, you'll find out and you'll learn from it and your values will change. You know?
Yeah.
Right. Just instead of staying in the middle zone where you're not doing either.
You don't learn
The gray
anything.
zone
You don't learn
sucks in
anything
business.
there.
The gray zone sucks in relationships.
I agree.
Sucks in life. Otherwise, you just
Well,
sit on the
it's
fence
you're
and then
sitting there and you're not making any progress. So
Correct.
basically you'll look back and it's like you're literally in the same spot you were 3 months
exactly.
ago. Okay.
Correct.
Makes total sense.
And sometimes it's the difficult conversation that people don't want to have with someone.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I would say, I mean, at least in my life to this point, I would say like the hardest conversations would always be like a girl you care about. I mean, business, I don't really care. I'm just like, whatever I say. But yeah, I would agree with that. Not because I worry about me. Like I just more worry about them. But
Letting someone down.
which probably in the grand scheme is still better if like you can't give them what they want. But yeah, I think it's that.
What are those songs? If you love them, let them go, or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a
A lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
How do you guys, personally like stay disciplined and focused? Do you guys have like any routines that you do? Like you may not, but some people have routines, some don't. I think people find that interesting to hear.
Kids are pretty motivating.
Yeah.
As soon as you have kids and you're responsible for.
Do you guys both have kids?
Yeah. We both got 3 kids. So as soon as you've got these little life forms that are like your heart sort of beating on the outside of you and you want the best for them, you don't need much more discipline and motivation than that. But prior to
BC.
before kids, BK.
Go ahead and finish your thought.
No, I was just saying, prior to that, I mean, we do have rituals. We do have things that we do every week.
Every week we set goals. Like you got to be clear. Like you got to be excited about the future.
Yeah.
You can't just turn up every week and get into that rinse and repeat mundane, flow of work. You have to be excited about something. So every week we get excited.
We don't
about
just
the
set goals. We make sure we're lit up by them.
Yeah.
We make sure that there's a super positive kinesthetic feeling there.
There
that we're
has to
super
be
motivated
feeling
by.
there.
Did you guys see a big difference in the way you thought when you were single to marriage to kids? Like, did that change? Were you surprised about what changed? Anything like that?
What about you?
I mean, yeah. Well, in relationship to business,
Yeah,
or
just
life in general?
just like in life in general. So like when you were a single guy to marriage to kids, like did you notice yourself like change mentally in terms of things you wanted or
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
this conversation has been sort of centered around values. I think your values shift depending on what life situation you're in. You know, like when you're single, I mean, when I was single, all I really cared about was making money and girls. You know, that was and partying.
Pretty basic, yeah.
You know, and partying was kind of centered around that as well.
Yeah.
You know, when I met my wife and we had kids, it was like, now I literally just want the best for them. You know, I want to travel the world with
Did that
these
shift feel weird? Like, or was it conscious or was it more unconscious shift?
I felt like it was almost like a spiritual like punch in the face when I
Interesting.
first saw my daughter for the first time. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, everyone says
like,
when they see their kids.
you know, I was just like, you know, the tears just start flowing and you're just like, this little girl is everything now. You know what I mean? And you just want the best. Like I keep saying, you just want the best for them. And that's to do with just loving them deeply. So yeah, of course, like you stop being so self-centered, you stop being so selfish, you start putting other people first before yourself. You know, I was very selfish before I had kids, you know, very self-centered before I had kids. It was all about me and what I wanted, you know, at the time. But I think that's been a great thing for me to learn. Yeah. That's been a beautiful thing for me.
Did that shift before you had kids or did it shift after you had kids? Like meaning were you kind of selfish maybe before you had kids and then when that happened you changed?
For me, yeah. For me it changed when I had kids. You know, like
interesting.
It changed for me when my wife called me and she said, you know, I'm pregnant. I'm just like, I had a Harley Davidson. I love this Harley Davidson. I had Harley Davidson breakout.
When you bought that, yeah.
It was like, you know, I love this thing. It was it was one of my life goals to buy this thing and Nikki and I used to ride to the Hunter Valley. It's like this wine region close by to Sydney here. And, you know, we used to go down there and stay the weekend and, you know, it was the whole thing, right? The day she called me and told me that she was pregnant with my eldest daughter, I sold that motorbike, you know, because I was just like, Nikki's pregnant. She's not going to be getting on the back with me anymore. You know, I want to be able to take my daughter with me wherever we go as well. So, you know, I bought a big truck so I could just go, you know, forward driving and go camping with them. That was, you know, so, I mean, that was a value shift. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
Interesting.
So yeah, definitely. It happened.
Yeah, they're fun, but they can be dangerous. I had it wasn't a buddy of mine, but he's a friend of the family. He was brain dead because he had a bad accident on that thing. It's like you know, that can happen.
Yeah. I nearly didn't buy one, but my dad passed away quite young and his life goal was to have a Harley Davidson.
Oh, man,
and
cool.
my mum said, no, you're not allowed to buy them because you got kids and you can't get hurt, blah, 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 and end up dying young anyway. And I thought, you know what? I'm not going to wait. I'm going to get this bike and I'm going to ride it. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What's something you guys used to think was important that maybe now you kind of feel is a distraction?
In business?
Yeah.
Getting liked.
Getting liked.
True.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that something that was very important to you?
Caring too much about what other people think.
Did you used to feel that way?
Yeah. Guys
Really?
think, I hope I'm doing the right thing.
Was this like when you started your business or even before when you were still doing
okay,
NLP?
when I was employee, no, I mean, some of those employee traits sort of get through like, you know, when you turn off a boat, it keeps going for a while. Some of those traits I had to shake off because when you're behind an organization and you're not the you know, we're the faces of the organization, it's easy to hide behind the face of the organization. So when you start your own business, especially now in today's world, you can build a very successful business really quickly because we have social media. You have a phone, pick it up, put a camera on, bang, you have an audience.
Yeah.
I had to cringe for a period of time and then not give a shit about, I don't care if people like me, if they don't hate me. So much so, it's like I'm at a point now where I need people not to like me because then I know that some people are going to like me. For as long as I'm vanilla, everyone's going to be, Connor's a nice guy.
But I don't like him.
I don't care. He doesn't inspire me to do anything.
Yep.
So I think to answer your question, caring less, just staying in your lane, loving what you do. And if you do that, then your inspiration will be infectious.
Yeah, I like that. something you said right there I think really stands out. It goes back to what you said. It's like for people to like you, and I noticed this in my own career, was like for them to like you kind of have to stand for something or be a certain way. But by you being a certain way, they automatically means someone cannot like you.
Yeah.
Right. So, but over time, like I even remember this when I was in, actually, I think the first time I learned this was maybe middle school. And these kids were being mean to me. And I was thinking like, dude, I literally don't do shit to anybody. But I think that was part of the problem, is like, I just kind of like existed.
Yeah.
And so no one really liked me. No one, I mean, those kids obviously probably didn't hate me, but they were just messing with me. And so I agree with what you said there 100%. Like, you kind of just need to go in your own lane and know some people won't like that. But the cool part is you'll attract the people that like are like you, which is great. Like, and sometimes I'll get certain clients and I'm like, the clients that I like are kind of like, hey, go do this, like, and do it, right? And rub some dirt on it. I don't quite enjoy maybe the other types of clients. And so I've kind of noticed with my brand and my personality, like I kind of attract those people.
Yeah, well, that pushes the other people away by doing that,
Yeah,
and that's what you want. You want this magnetism and repulsion.
It drives me nuts anyway. So I'm like, yeah, dude, like it's perfect because like you and me just won't get along. Yeah. So I love that. What do you guys do in terms of investing outside the business? Like I don't know what you guys do, but like people I think find this like interesting. So like, is this the main business? You guys are just trying to grow it? Do you guys like are you guys going to try to expand, or just like in terms of investing, like, some people go like, where do you guys take the money that you guys do make and where do you like to invest it?
All right. Well,
sounds pretty corny, but I mean, family and travel, like that's really like, I mean, property, that's, that's
the standard stuff. I don't know. Do you dabble with coin and stuff?
I've got a few coins.
Couple cryptos.
Yeah.
I'm straight laced when it comes to investing for the most part. We have property, but that's
like I'm pretty vanilla myself. But I just think people, they always like to hear, like, where do you guys put your money?
Yeah, I mean, Australia has been pretty good with property over the last 50, 60 years. So
really,
it's kind of
It's
that long.
Yeah, well, we did have a dip in
Sydney,
2008 when that all happened, but it wasn't Australia wide. It was kind of in regional areas where it hit the hardest kind of thing.
Interesting.
Sydney has always just performed. Whether or not that continues,
look, I've been saying that since 2006. I honestly thought in 2006 the bubble's going to burst. The bubbles, and I've been hearing for 20 years living close to Sydney.
We have a immigration policy that allows a lot of people to come into Australia, and in the last 2 or 3 years, there's been just a huge amount of people that have come in.
What's the reason for that?
I think
I don't want to get political.
to keep it pretty kind of standard. I think we have an aging population.
Okay.
And not a lot of young people are having kids until later in life.
Oh, I thought you said aging. At first I thought you said Asian. I was like, yes, I have seen a ton of Asians here.
Aging population.
There was a lot at the airport. I was a little surprised like how many there were. I know that's not what you said.
We have the third biggest country in the world with a population of LA or New York.
Yeah.
Peppered everywhere. So there's so much land and there's not enough people, and there's not enough people building houses for the influx of people coming in. So the demand is
so high. You can't get a rental around
ridiculous.
Nearly anywhere in Australia.
Really?
Rental properties are impossible. You have to buy.
Oh my gosh.
So it's
I didn't
very
even realize that.
Yeah.
I live 4 hours south from here. I drove 4 hours to be here today.
Wow, dude. Kudos to you,
I appreciate
That's
it. I appreciate
crazy.
you having us here.
Holy
But
shit.
why I'm saying that is because even in the small coastal town down there, I moved there about 8 years ago when we started having more kids, bought a big block of land, etc. But even down there, the prices are just like it's almost Sydney prices down there, and there's a population of 30,000.
I don't know if you guys would know this, but like, would this be equal to Miami prices? I don't even know if you guys would know that.
Australia, Sydney, and Melbourne, I think have like the top two in the top 5 expensive real estate in the world.
In the world,
I think the top 2 are in Australia.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I had no idea.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
So
I think it's like Japan, and then Sydney, and then like Toronto, and then New York, and then Melbourne.
Yeah, because I was thinking because Miami's pretty expensive.
Miami's been pumping.
My phone's over there.
Yeah.
If we looked at it in the top, I say top 5, definitely the top 10. It would have 2 or 3 Australian cities.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So like for a 2-bedroom apartment, what am I paying here? Like 10K?
In Sydney?
In Sydney, over
10K,
$1 million.
12K. No, like if I was renting.
To
if I was
rent?
renting, do you know? Like 10K, 12K.
What, per month?
Yeah, per month.
I haven't rented in.
I don't know anymore.
Okay.
Cal lives an hour and a half north, and I live 4 hours south. So we sort of.
Yeah, because it would depend on Miami where you live. But I would say Miami, you could get like a decent 2-bedroom for like $8,000 a month, like in like the middle kind of downtown.
What's that? $2,000 a week?
No, $2,000 a week, $8,000 a month. Yeah, 8,000 USD
for a really, really nice place.
What? I mean, 2-bedroom, like 1,500.
That's high. That's high on the rental side, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about to buy that? How much would it be to buy?
Ooh, to buy probably like I don't know, like 1.2, 1.3, something.
You
like
see,
that.
if you wouldn't get those rental returns here, if you got $2,000 a week on any property, that property would probably be worth $3 to $5 million, depending on where you are.
Yeah.
There's no way. Those rental returns are incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, man. I guess I'm struggling to understand why that is. Like, why could it sell for more, but the rentals are
because
cheaper?
the Australian economy, for the most part, has been propped up by the mining industry and the housing industry, and they don't want to cool the housing industry because it's circulating so much money around the country. So we're in a bit of a pickle because if they do cool the housing industry,
there's a lot of people with a lot high. Australia's got one of the highest home debts as well. Personal household debts. One of the highest household debts in the world as well. So
if they cool the housing market, it will stop the flow of money, and we all know you need money flowing in the economy in order to keep it going. Yeah. The mining industry has taken a bit of a dive since COVID, but I think that fluctuates up and down. Well. But they have Australia has like the second most amount of natural resources in the world, and it sells it all to other countries for cheap, and it shouldn't. Like Norway, for example, and I think Alaska as well in the US has a lot of oil there. Like Norway gives the profit that they make from all the natural resources that they sell back to the people. Here in Australia, the large organizations that come here and mine offshore don't pay any tax here. So they say we'll employ people, which is great, but they pay no tax. So Australia is, I think, has put itself in a position where it's got the most, almost the most resources in the world, yet it's not capitalizing on it, and therefore it needs to prop up the economy in other ways. And the housing boom has just kept it going for a long period of time, with the mining boom. There's a thing called first home buyers grant. So if you're a first home buyer, you get tax benefits, and you also get some lump sum payments from the government to buy your first home. So they really push first home buyers, but because the first home buyers are coming into the market and they're staying in the market, it pushes the prices up because it keeps the demand going, because every year there's a new crop of first home buyers that comes to the market. And those first home buyers, unless you have parents that have sort of money, a lot of those first home buyers are getting money filtered from their parents in order to prop up to be able to pay for their first homes. So it's a bit of a vicious circle, and it's been going like this for a number of years. And I don't know the solution, but what I do know is that Australia is sitting on more natural nearly more natural resources than nearly any other country. Yet it doesn't. It's not clearly visible, those benefits being put back into the community.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know about the aging population problem either. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean Japan.
Well, I think that's most Western countries now. Starting to. There's a guy.
It costs too much to have kids.
So
people used to have 3 kids now.
There's a guy in your country called Peter Zion. He's been on the Joe Rogan podcast before, and he's written a book called The End of the World Is Just the Beginning, and it talks all about the aging demographic problem around the world.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard that for sure in like Asian countries, like I think Japan or
Japan
like
has a really big Asian,
South Korea.
Exactly.
I've heard that for sure, but like I didn't know it was like happening in Australia. For example.
See, Cal and I have 3 kids each, so we're doing.
We're doing our part.
You guys are pulling your weight. All right, cool. Okay, so what I want to do for us before we wrap this up is I want to do what I call a lightning round, and so these are just a couple questions. You guys could like take your time, or you can quick fire. What would you say is the most underrated skill in sales?
The most underrated.
I mean, I think communication. I think there's a lot of lazy kind of talk tracks that people use where it's just like, just say this or just say this. But if you understand how to utilize language creatively and understand the psychology of the person you're speaking to, you don't need scripts.
Yeah, you know, I was going to ask, that actually leads me to a question. Do you guys, so when I give people, like I have scripts for my sales team, but they're more like guidelines. It's like a table of competence.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree with that, or do you
100%.
like word for word? I find word for word is terrible because like, it just makes them lazy and their head turns off.
People want word for word. Like if we sold word for word scripts, like we could probably make a lot of money because that seems to be all people want. But we're more.
So it doesn't work.
To sell the sales trainings, we say we give you scripts. What we actually give them is frameworks.
Right, I agree.
We teach you how to think, not what to think.
Yeah, I agree. Because like it's like you'll have similar stuff. So like the questions are similar, the objections are similar, but like I find that just by putting kind of like bullet points, it gets the reps to think. And if they're not thinking, I'm like, dude, this call is so cringy. Like you're just like repeating something off a piece of paper.
And if you're bored saying it, perception is projection. The listener's bored hearing it.
And the state you're in will suck as well.
Yeah, it's not fresh. I think that was a good one. I think belief, but everyone talks about belief within your product, but you have to believe in the person that you're actually selling. You literally have to believe that they can achieve what you're saying.
The Michelangelo effect.
The Michelangelo effect, that changes everything that you say. We believe what comes out of here is simply a reflection of what's going on up here. And if you wholeheartedly believe that the person you're talking with can achieve the result that they're going to get, then your language and your energy is a big one as well. Your energy will change to help them achieve that, similar to the brown metaphor that I did before.
You start to see the potential and you'll start to talk to the potential rather than talking to the lack.
Yeah. Any books that you guys have read that like have changed how you lead or how you view business, how you perform in business?
I mean, the one that got me in was Richard Branson's
Screw It, Let's Do It.
Screw It, Let's Do It. It was actually Screw It, Let's Do It. I remember being in we used to have what we call smoko, which was just like morning tea on the job sites where I used to work as a plumber. And all the old plumbers used to give me so much shit for reading that book. And I used to come in every single day and I'd be reading through it and they'd be like, what are you reading that for? Like, what do you want to do? You think your son's sort of business owner or something? His story of like, you know, I don't know how much truth is in it and how much help he did or didn't have, but the story was awesome. Like just how he got Virgin off the ground, you know, how he negotiated without any money to have this, you know, airplane that he was going to get.
That's right. He was selling it before he had it.
You know, and I just thought that's all I need to hear. You know what I mean? Let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
I'm a bit old school. I mean, traditional. Mum gave me Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, when I was like 15 or something like that. And it actually, it stuck with me. I wasn't reading a lot of books back then, but it's one that I read from cover to cover and it stuck with me. And some of the learnings there versus being an employee versus being a business owner, I still use today.
Yeah. When I read that book, I was somewhere in my teenage years. I was older teenager. Maybe I was like young 20s. Anyways, I read that book and I was talking about the quadrants and I remember thinking I understand the business part, but like how do I start a business? That's what kind of got me into this world because I was like, I started looking for help. I was like, yo, someone's got to show me how to like do this business thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that book too.
What about you? What was?
Oh man, book that really changed. You know what? It's honestly, it's like a kind of a mindset book, like Self-Deception and Leadership by the Arbinger Institute. You read that?
No.
It's really good. I have to read it again to kind of get refreshed on it, but like I find philosophy or like kind of mindset books fascinating when they take like something and they break it down really simple and it's like, duh. And like the premise of that book, I can't remember the entire premise right now, but basically it's like this guy at business is kind of being an a-hole and he's a manager and like it's affecting stuff at home. And then they take him through this like training and they tell him like he's in the box and they like kind of show him like the way he's thinking and perceiving things is like incorrect. And like, it's really fascinating. It's really simple how they base out, but I don't want to say it's like NLP, but it's kind of along those same guidelines. It sounds along those guidelines. So it's Self-Deception and Leadership by the Arbinger Institute. It's like probably top 2 books I've ever read. And I read a lot. So that definitely stuck out with me. It's a great book. One mistake that taught you more than any course, any big one?
I mean, for me, the most recent one was like spending that 1,000 hours putting that first program together before I sold it. That was like, because my second daughter was just born and we're already having sleepless nights and I was spending so much time on this thing. And then when we launched it, it was just like a proper punch in the face. And just to see how simple it was the very next week when we made the offer first and everyone piled on, I was just like, oh my God, this is all you have to do. Let's go.
What was the question again? What's the mistake?
One mistake that taught you more than any course.
I think keeping employees longer than I should.
Yeah, I did that. I went through that. I think
I had to put up with that.
Yeah, I think the main thing with employees is it's kind
Certain
of
employees, obviously.
Yeah, it's probably kind of like a relationship. Is like they have to see the world the
Boundaries.
same way as you. I mean, like they have to view it the same. Meaning, I don't necessarily need someone like, okay, like you want to go to the gym as much as me. It's just the important stuff. It's like, do you care about doing a good job? Do you take pride in doing a good job? Do you like some team members? They just don't care. Like, and it's just obvious. Like they're like, I'm just here to get a check and that's it. There's some of my staff, they take really big pride in like doing a good job and doing their best, and they want to do their best. And it's like, if you get that type of mentality, it's like everything kind of feeds into that. I'm just like really hard on who I hire now. Like if they just don't come off like they want to kind of be the best at like what they do, it just usually isn't a fit, because then I'm like constantly kind of probing them and dragging them along.
Yeah.
100%. We're clearer now. They have to fit the vision, mission, and values of the business. And if there's any incongruencies there, then that we just know they're not going to stick around for a long time. Or it's going to be us pushing them to do their job that we
Right. And it's like if you're paying someone and then you're babysitting them, it drives me nuts. Like I'll tell someone like, look, bro, you can either get babysat and get no money, or you can do it and get some money. Like I'm not doing both. And it just and it drives me nuts. And I think some owners, they don't want to have that hard conversation, but it's like they're just kicking the can down the road.
or they're too busy to rehire.
That was one of our problems.
That was
yeah,
100%
we used to
one
get
of
so
ours.
busy and we're like, we'll do it after Christmas. And then they'd perform for a month and we're like, oh, we'll keep them for a little bit.
And then when it kind of happened again. Yeah,
It's
no,
like-
I mean, I've ran into that. I would say, like, I tell some of my clients, I'm like, hey, when you get to a certain point in business, you just have to decide how big of an issue it is. And if it's like, you got to get rid of them right now, you're going to have to step in.
Yeah.
If you can't step in, you got to just wait until you can, because sometimes the business will get so big, that's your only option.
We've had someone who had just happened to perform in the cycle time that we were going to let them go. And then they don't perform during our busy period, and it's too busy to let them go. And then they start performing again. Literally for years, they stuck in there. And it's sort of like they just
Hung in there.
just enough to like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst, man.
It is.
That is the worst. Well, what is next for you guys? And then like, how can people get connected, work with you? Like, where can they find you?
Cool, buddy. What's next?
What's next?
Mate, we're on a mission. We're growing our community. We have because we've been in the industries that we've been in for so long, we have a massive global community. So we have clients from all over the globe. We travel to train. We've been to England, Vietnam, Florida to do what we do, and that's growing. So I'd say the core product, our 12-month program, that's where we want to really bring more value to the world by bringing more people into that, and that's growing our university. And what is also great, it's crazy. We're actually in a really, really good growth period. We're coming into 2.5 years, and the bigger businesses are now wanting to use us to specialize in the sales training. So what is next, mate?
Well, I mean, there has been a program we've
non-answer.
been working on under the table called The Shift. And it's about that identity shift that I was talking to you about before. People have been, every time we do this kind of spiritual and personal development stuff that we do with our internal guys, they're always like, oh, can you make this a training? Can you turn this into training? And finally just got to a point where one of our Vietnamese clients wanted us to come up there and do something new with them. They're always after the latest stuff. And we said, we're working on this, and they said, we'll have that. So that kind of forced us to start to, get it completed, get it finished. And it's going to be, a 3-day program where people can look at how they can make that internal shift that's going to allow those goals to be even easier to make. So that's
well,
go ahead. I was going to say, we believe knowledge used to be in some circles guarded, and you had to pay a lot of money to get knowledge.
Yeah.
In the last few years, I can find out about anything I want in a heartbeat on any of the chat GPT, any of the chat agent. Knowledge is going to be cheap.
It's commoditized. Yeah.
It's I can get anything I need out of a book. I'll get it in a heartbeat through that app there. So knowledge is cheap. It's the wisdom and who you hear it from is going to be where the currency is.
Yeah.
Like you said, you attract those people that are just like, let's get after it. No BS.
Yeah.
Let's just do it. That's your personal brand, and that can't be copied, right?
Yeah.
Everyone could probably teach, not everyone, but people can copy your offers, they can copy your processes, but they can't copy you.
Right.
So that's another thing we're going to go big on next year is teaching how people can create their own personal brand and make that strong, because and that's good. The way that we look at that lens is, like I said, through that higher self lens, and more about cutting away rather than adding. And that's where people can see what's uniquely you behind what they see on the screen. And I think that's what's actually going to be.
People will pay for wisdom.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's crazy now, like how much simpler my life will be is like if I go somewhere, it's like, hey, where are the best restaurants? ChatGPT spits out, where's the best gyms? It's like, because I don't have to Google search it and then like go through a bunch of links. Like it's just the fact that it comes right there. It's like, oh, here you go. Like perfect. So I 100% agree with you. It's going to come down to, actually beyond like information, like actually like delivery and fulfillment and stuff like that. Well, guys, like super glad we got to connect. Like I love all the stuff you're doing mindset wise. Like obviously you could tell I'm very curious about that. That's why I had so many questions. But yeah, excited to see where you guys go and like congrats on all the success for it. And thanks for driving, 100 hours. I feel a little bad that you drove.
No, it's good. We've been watching you for a while, so it's been good.
It's been good. You've been making an impact and I'm glad you're here in Australia. I would like to see more of it.
Cool. All right, guys.